So as we said, we left off in the last video, Venus is definitely the hot planet. 896 degrees everywhere all the time. And as comparison here, the planet Mercury is only about 800 degrees at its hottest, even though it's much closer to the sun than Venus is. So lead is a metal that we use here on Earth for a variety of things. Here are some lead bricks, and they're sort of usually used for shielding, and I mean shielding in terms of radioactive shielding to make us safe, because lead is very thick and heavy, as you can see. So here's these lead bricks here. These are commonly found in physics departments. We even have them in ours and things like this. And so, but at that temperature on Venus, these heavy, solid lead bricks used for radiation shielding, they would melt right on the surface. So lead would melt. And that would just be so bizarre to see lead just sort of wiggling around like it was water all over this hot surface of this planet here, Venus. So the clouds here are mostly made of CO2 and H2SO4. So you probably know what CO2 is. That's good old carbon dioxide. There's plenty of it here on Earth, and we'll talk about that in a second in the context of Venus. This stuff over here is sulfuric acid, more commonly known as battery acid, sort of used in the acid of batteries. And H2SO4 is sort of bad stuff because it's very strong here. It can corrode. It can corrode metal. Definitely your skin and rocks. It's used in drain cleaner on Earth here that is battery acid. Fertilizer. And sewage treatment. But of course, that's what Venus is. That's what's in the atmosphere of Venus. So it's just a very awful place to be. And I'll also mention that the pressure on Venus then, so there's those lead bricks again. And so the pressure on Venus, because of this, all these clouds in this thick atmosphere then, it'd be something like 90 times Earth's pressure. So in other words, you're in a situation like this on Venus where maybe you are standing here on Venus, so maybe here's the Earth right here, and maybe here's Venus. So what'll happen, of course, you're standing here on Earth, you're generally happy because the atmosphere is something that we're all used to. So there's definitely some nitrogen and oxygen and things that we breathe in our atmosphere to the tune of about 1 atmosphere of pressure. But on Venus, the cloud deck is so thick that you were standing here, you'd kind of be in trouble, because let me get some whitish color going here, because it's so thick now with the carbon dioxide and the sulfuric acid. It's so thick here like that, just a very, very thick atmosphere. Of course, it's not 1 atmosphere. It might be something like 90 atmospheres. And so air pressure is, of course, this wonderful thing that sort of pushes down on us a little bit. It isn't what keeps us down on Earth. That's what gravity does here. But we can feel the effects of pressure if you go higher or lower in an airplane in your car or something like that. But here, the downwards push is just very nasty because of this really strong atmospheric pressure, 90 times. So if you went to Venus, say you were there sometime, well, here's what would happen to you if you went there. The first thing that would happen is you would become baked. The second thing that would happen is you would become poisoned. The third thing that would happen is you would be crushed under the extreme pressure. And a fourth thing that would happen, of course, you would be corroded. And so that brings us then to question number 41 on our sheet. Says, what is the Venus equation? The Venus equation, huh? Well, you're on this planet where you'd be baked, poisoned, crushed, and corroded if you were there. So what's the Venus equation? Well, I know this is Astronomy 101. We're trying to go very light on the math, but there is one equation you have to know for the final exam. So dust off your trigonometry and your algebra and maybe even a little calculus to get this one down. But the Venus equation is VENUS equals HELL. There is your Venus equation. Finally, at long last, we know what the Venus equation is. And I suppose as long as it's an equation, if you want to be sort of a mathematical purist, I guess you could cancel the e's out or something like that. No, we're not doing that. We're not doing any algebra, but that would be the Venus equation. So in the next video then, I want to tell you 3 important things about Venus. I want to talk about why is it so hot there, something about the carbon cycle, and something about its tilt.